You never really know the history of a house until it decides to tell you. For 32-year-old Claire Morden, buying the old Victorian on Hollow Street was supposed to be a fresh start. Divorce had left her hollow herself, so maybe it was fitting that she ended up here, in a place with creaking floors, fogged-up windows, and neighbors who wouldn't look her in the eye. On the first night, she heard it, a soft knock, coming from inside the walls. The moving truck left at 4:15 p.m., and the silence settled thick over the house. Claire wandered through each room, the kind of wandering you do when you're trying to convince yourself you made the right choice. The kitchen smelled faintly of cinnamon, though no one had baked here in years. The living room fireplace was cold, but soot stains hinted at stories long burned away. Upstairs, she found the master bedroom, tall ceilings, faded wallpaper, and a view of the overgrown garden below. As she unpacked boxes, she noticed something strange. Every mirror in the house had been removed. The knock woke her around 2:47 a.m. Not a loud, panicked knock, but a polite, rhythmic tapping. 3 times. Pause. 3 times again. She lay frozen, staring into the dark. It wasn't coming from the front door. It was coming from inside the wall behind her headboard. The sound stopped after a minute, but her heart didn't. She barely slept until dawn. The next morning, she stepped outside and found an elderly woman tending roses next door. The woman looked up, startled, as if caught in a place she didn't belong. "You're the new owner," the woman said flatly. "Yes, Claire, You should keep your windows locked at night." The woman returned to her roses without another word. That night, the knock returned, but this time, after the knocking, came a whisper. At first, Claire thought it was the wind, but the voice was too sharp, too deliberate. It said her name, Claire. On the third day, while cleaning the basement, she noticed a draft coming from behind a stack of old crates. She moved them aside and found a narrow wooden door only about 4 feet tall, with an old brass handle. It was painted the same color as the wall, almost invisible. She turned the handle, locked, unable to shake the feeling something was wrong. Claire walked to the local library. In the archives, she found an old photograph of her house, but it wasn't just a photograph. There was a newspaper clipping dated 1962. Local family disappears without a trace, no signs of forced entry. The picture showed a smiling couple with a little boy, standing on the porch of her house. The article claimed that neighbors last saw them entering the home one rainy evening. No one ever saw them leave. That night, she dreamed of a boy standing in her bedroom. He wore striped pajamas and had dark, wet hair plastered to his forehead. He didn't speak, but he lifted his hand and pointed to the wall behind her bed, the same wall where she heard the knocking. She woke up gasping and found water on her pillow, but her ceiling didn't leak. By now, the knocking was nightly, louder, closer. On the 5th night, she decided she couldn't ignore it anymore. She went to the basement with a hammer and began prying at the small door's frame. After a few minutes of grunting and splintering wood, the lock gave way. Inside was a narrow crawl space, pitch black and smelling of damp earth. She crawled forward, her phone light barely cutting through the dark. After a few feet, she found something, a child's shoe, small, muddy, perfectly preserved. Then she saw the fingernail scratches on the wall. The next morning, a man appeared on her doorstep. He was in his late 50s, with a face like weathered stone. "I used to live here," he said quietly, "when I was a boy." Claire's heart pounded. You're the boy from the article?" His eyes darkened. "My parents never left this house, and neither did I." He told her about the night in 1962, when the rain came down in sheets. His parents sent him to bed early. Around midnight, he heard footsteps in the hallway, but when he peeked out, he saw something wrong. A tall, shadowed figure stood over his parents' bed, and they weren't moving. He ran to the basement, tried to get out the back door, but something chased him into the crawl space. He hid there for hours, maybe days, until someone pulled him out. Only when he came out, it was 1974. Claire's breath caught. Time skipped. He nodded. "This house isn't empty. It's hungry." That night, Claire barricaded her bedroom door. The knocks began at 2 a.m., heavier than ever. Then came the voice. This time, it wasn't just her name. It whispered, "You opened the door. Now we can come in." The next morning, she packed her things, ready to leave. But when she opened her front door, The street outside was gone. In its place was an endless stretch of fog, thick and unmoving. The phone lines were dead. The clocks were stuck at 2:47 a.m. She ran to the basement, hoping to find the crawl space again. But it wasn't there, just solid brick. Then she heard the sound of small, bare feet running across the floor above her. When she climbed the stairs, she found the boy from her dreams standing at the window. "They're here," he said. Claire turned and saw herself standing in the doorway, smiling. "Welcome home," the other Claire whispered. The house on Hollow Street was listed again 3 months later. The realtor's ad claimed it had historic charm and endless potential. No one ever mentioned the missing woman, or the fact that every mirror was still gone. Follow for more. Thanks for watching.